Can physical activity slow down or even prevent hearing loss? Or better yet, can using hearing aids actually make you more physically fit? Well, let's find out. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and in this video, I'm talking about the surprising link between hearing loss and physical activity. Now, some of you who follow my channel already know that I have an undergraduate degree in exercise science. As a painfully skinny kid growing up, I started exercising to add on a little bit of muscle mass, and this eventually led to me joining the United States Marine Corps, where I started to fall in love with challenging myself physically. Following my time spent in the Marine Corps, I needed to replace that physical challenge with another one, which is what got me into training for and racing in triathlons, which led me to pursue this particular degree. While I love audiology way more than I ever loved exercise science, human anatomy and physiology is still something that I am extremely interested in. Now, I don't think that anyone would disagree with me if I were to say that being physically active is extremely important for overall health. The benefits of physical activity are virtually endless and can lead to better sleep, lower levels of anxiety, improved blood pressure, as well as improved brain health, heart health, bone density, and even lower the risk of certain types of cancer. But another possible benefit of physical activity is that it may actually have a positive impact on your hearing. That's right. What if I told you that being more physically active could either slow down or prevent your hearing loss from getting worse? Or that treating your hearing loss could actually slow down your rate of physical decline? I mean, aside from all of the other benefits that are associated with being more physically active, why not layer on a couple more benefits? But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the research that shows this link between hearing loss and physical activity. But before I do, if you could do me a huge favor and click the like button, it really helps out the channel because it gets these videos in front of a broader audience. And while you're at it, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button with notification bell, go ahead and do that as well, because that ensures that you never miss one of my newly released videos, and I release a ton of new videos every single week. That being said, I really appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and dive into the research. In a recent 2021 study, researchers analyzed physical activity levels among older adults with hearing loss, and after adjusting for age, sex, education, race, ethnicity, and comorbidities, hearing loss was significantly associated with less time spent in moderate to vigorous physical activity per day, less time spent in light intensity physical activity per day, and more time spent in sedentary behaviors per day. While this doesn't necessarily explain why individuals who are more physically active have less severe hearing loss, it is interesting to see that when they control for all of these other variables, that they still find a positive correlation between hearing loss and physical activity. Now, we know that increased physical activity increases blood flow and capillary development in skeletal muscle. So it's plausible that this increased blood flow could also be beneficial to your cochlea, which is your hearing organ, by providing it with more nutrients as well as removing more cellular waste. Regardless, if you have hearing loss and you're looking for another reason to start exercising or just getting up and going for a walk, I think this is a pretty compelling one. But it is not the only study that has shown a link between hearing loss and physical activity levels. In another 2021 study published by the Gerontological Society of America, they identified that moderate or greater hearing impairment was associated with poorer initial and greater decline in higher level physical performance, meaning that individuals with more significant hearing loss are less likely to be in as good of physical shape, and their physical performance levels will decrease even quicker over time, compared to individuals who do not have as significant of a hearing loss, meaning that individuals with higher levels of hearing loss perform worse physically, and that performance level decreases quicker compared to individuals with less hearing loss. Ultimately, the researchers suggested that identifying and treating hearing loss earlier could delay or slow down the rate of this progressive decline. Now, how could this be? Well, we already know that individuals who have an untreated hearing loss are at a higher risk of social isolation as well as higher risk of falling. The combination of these could make it to where people feel less comfortable going out and engaging socially with family and friends, or even going outside and going for a walk around the block, which could make them more sedentary and lead to a quicker rate of physical decline. And apparently 2021 was the year that everybody wanted to know about this link between hearing loss and physical activity levels, because another massive study looking at the association of age-related hearing impairment with physical functioning identified that hearing impairment was associated with poorer physical performance, faster decline in physical function, and reduced walking endurance. Now, when you look at all three of these studies, they're all suggesting a very similar thing, which leads us to a couple of questions. One of those questions being, if you actually treat a hearing loss with hearing aids, would that lead to a lesser rate of physical decline? Or on the other hand, would an increase in physical activity level lead to a decrease in age-related hearing decline? So here recently, we had a study come out in September of 2023 in the Lancet journal about the results of the ACHIEVE study. Now, the results that were published in this particular article were all about cognition and hearing loss, and if treating hearing loss with hearing aids had an impact on cognition. And what they identified is that in high-risk individuals, the rate of memory loss and loss of thinking was reduced by 48% for individuals who treated their hearing loss with hearing aids. However, they did not just collect data on hearing loss and cognition to see if one impacted the other directly. They also took a look at hearing loss and physical activity levels. So it is possible that here in the next several months, they actually release this data to show whether or not hearing loss and treating that hearing loss will actually directly impact physical activity, which means that we may be very close to answering both of these questions. Of course, until we actually have this data, we can only speculate as to whether or not treating your hearing loss would impact your physical fitness capabilities, as well as if your physical fitness would directly impact your rate of hearing loss. In the meantime, if you have a hearing loss and you're worried about going down the same road of physical decline as the other individuals inside of these studies, then I would highly recommend that you just treat your hearing loss just in case it has a direct impact. The vast majority of individuals with hearing loss actually use hearing aids to treat it, and a lot of these individuals have a lot of success with these hearing aids as long as they go to a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices. And one thing that I can say for sure is that if you have a hearing loss, treating your hearing loss is always a good idea, regardless of the potential physical benefits that you would gain in doing so. And it is always a good idea to keep your body moving even if it doesn't have a direct impact on the progression of your hearing loss. Now, according to the physical activity guidelines published by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, for substantial health benefits, adults should do at least 150 to 300 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic physical activity, or 75 to 150 minutes a week of vigorous intensity aerobic physical activity, or an equivalent combination of moderate and vigorous intensity aerobic activity. And preferably, aerobic activity should be spread throughout the week. Who knows, maybe I should just go ahead and take my exercise science degree and put it to good use by starting a hearing fitness YouTube channel where I teach you a bunch of different exercises to improve your overall hearing health. But until we get more answers about this link between hearing loss and physical activity, do yourself a favor. If you have a hearing loss, treat your hearing loss just in case they identify that treating your hearing loss keeps you more physically fit. And get up and start exercising because your hearing may depend on it.